Good morning and welcome to Trading with Larry. It's Larry Benedict, joined by Eric Shamilov, coming to you every morning, Monday through Thursday at 8:30. Also, you can watch us live on YouTube at tradingwithlarry.com. So you can find us there. We were putting it out on a delay after our subscribers saw it on our website, but now we're coming to everybody live. So we're glad everybody can join us, get real time access to the markets, and get the setups for the trading day ahead. And here we are after the slow beginning of the week. Yesterday was an interesting one. You were a little mesmerized by the up move, but the market opened higher and actually sold off about 60, $70, which in our markets now, with the very low volatility, is a fairly large move. Shook people up a little bit overnight as the S&P traded down about 30 handles, and now back to everything being really, really good. And the number just came out, so I don't know if you want to parse it out. We were looking for a PPI. We know there's no inflation anywhere, so I'm
There's
sure
no
that.
inflation. There was literally no inflation according to the PPI.
Right. So,
Actual numbers came in at 0% month over month.
so this is what we're living with right now, which is an interesting thing. A bunch of rigged numbers in my book, but they somehow love a producer price index to rally the S&P 50 handles after yesterday's CPI was in line to a little bit light. So obviously, we had a bigger reaction off the PPI than we did off the CPI, which is pretty even crazier than you would think. So markets, I was thinking this morning that it might be a decent idea to maybe buy a little S&P down, but now that it's up, it sort of changes the mantra of what I'm looking to do today. So I think we're going to be both sides of unchanged potentially. Interesting, like overnight. I don't know if you were up, but the market was really getting hit overnight. S&P, in your world, you thought yesterday 20 handles was big. It was down 30 overnight. To come in this morning to see, markets higher, and I'm sure Nvidia is higher. Last night it was down a buck 50. Um, it's funny. This so reminds me the of the dot com bubble in a way, even though the difference is those companies had very small market caps and were not that impactful. You're talking about the largest market cap in the world by far, and there are upgrades like the price targets are 180. They're going up to 220. The stock hasn't even hit 180 yet. So why are they raising their price targets? And I don't know. Like, I was talking to someone yesterday, and they're saying this China thing, even if it goes through, which they don't even know if it's ever going to happen because of the trade war. It's in the billions of dollars, not even 1 trillion. It's not going to add even 1 trillion over a career lifetime to the stock. So this is the go-go stock that everyone wants. We discussed it a little bit yesterday about the market cap put into the stock. Um, it was put in about $250 billion from to the high, which is bigger than pretty much every company in the world other than 50. So I don't know. It added the market cap of IBM, more than IBM in a day. A whole company that's existed since the 1950s, adding more in a day. The acceleration of market cap here is what's getting me a little bit concerned, along with the insatiable public appetite to continually buy at any level. And if you called any retail public customer or anybody that's investing that this is not their profession, they would tell you I'm never selling Nvidia. It's going to triple. It's going to 50 billion, 30 billion, a trillion, 100 trillion. I mean, it's the same kind of stuff I saw during that .com bust, and it's making me leery. It's going to be a lot harder to bust um, a stock like this down to $30. Which, listen, we never thought that was going to happen in Micron Technologies. That was the highest flyer in the '90s, and then that stock went to $1. I'm not suggesting that's going to happen here, but it's there's a lot of things that can happen. It was funny. I got a call from a guy who runs a lot of money who used to trade for me. And you know what he told me? He goes, "Don't be surprised one day if you walk in and there's a war between China and Taiwan and that Nvidia goes in half in one day." So, there's a lot of things out there that potentially can hit. But right now, markets are frothy. They want to buy at every level. Market looked a little skittish overnight, bounced off that, and now all markets are higher, including Nasdaq, which was down 100, overnight. So we're back, and I still see a lot of that stuff coming through in the marketplace right now, and it makes me a little bit concerned, but nothing crazy. Market volatility is low. Um, Dollar's picking up some steam here, which is interesting. And then bond rates hit about 450 last night, so bounced off that. So I don't know. I think quiet overall. I don't love the opening. I think it's a little bit concerning that they're back again, and they're running the market off of a PPI. But I'm doing a lot of talking, and I want to throw it to you to hear your thoughts and what you're thinking today, and then we'll parse through all the markets and get everybody set up for today.
Yeah. Good morning, Larry. Thank you. So a little about the PPI that just came out. It came out at 0% month over month, which means, according to this data, no producer inflation over the last month. And one of the concerns I think the market had, I was certainly kind of like looking at it like in a concerning way, is that producer the producer price index was trending much higher than the CPI, and that's probably a lot of these companies eating costs, and that is a great gauge of the overall margins on U.S. companies when your producer prices are higher or lower than your CPI and what that trend is looking like. So that was a big concern, and now it came in at 0%. CPI yesterday, month over month, was at 0.3. So a little bit of an easing off on that. Maybe the market thinks that the profit margins are back and it's rallying. So that's something that um, may look bullish to the market. And in terms of Nvidia, yeah, it's not they're not adding $1 trillion in revenue on that H20 band, but they are going to probably add 10 to 15 billion a year on that incremental uh, revenue for H20. So a 250 billion market cap run up on let's say 10 to 15 billion dollars in incremental revenue. We see that in the market all the time.
Hey, Eric, if they even get it, and if things go the way that the market thinks it's going to go into a trade war with China going ballistic and not happy. Okay, so why does China want it? Explain to me this. Why does China want it? Number one, and why do we want it? Like, I don't understand. We want to give them all our AI technology and our chips and this and that. Like, why do we want to do that? We're at a
Yeah,
total
I
trade
agree.
war.
That part, why we're doing that, I don't know. That part, I do not know. But why does China want it? I mean, it's obvious why they want it. They want the tech. That's clear. and Nvidia is very willing to give it to them. In fact, Jensen is getting more entrenched into China. He thinks China is going to win the AI race, and so he's building stuff in Shanghai and research centers and all that. So what Jensen wants, he gets, and he wants into China.
I don't know. I'm not bullish on the name when everyone else is so bullish.
I
It
have
makes
puts on Nvidia too. You know, I have puts on Nvidia.
Yeah,
It's
your
just
puts are not even close to being relevant. No offense. You know, you don't have
well, yeah,
relevant puts. What do you have? 160 puts?
yeah, 160.
Okay, well, you're going to need a very large down move to get that to happen, and
Yep.
you're going to need negative news to hit the market. So, I mean, maybe it'll happen. I'm not quite sure what is going on in the market where they have this insatiable appetite to buy a stock that you just said adds 10 billion a year. 10 billion is nothing. Okay, what are their revenues? It's not even particularly anything. It's just you got to realize there's a new investor in the new investor class, and they're, as you would say, frothing at the mouth to just own names that have massive overvaluations and massive market cap. And let me ask you this: how much did Nvidia go down when they weren't able to sell into China? Like nothing. The only time Nvidia went down was during the fake crash of the tariffs. But other than that, Nvidia never went down off this. But when they get, this is what I'm saying: when you get any type of positive news, the stocks explode up. When you get negative news, they don't go down. And that to me is very telling of the market that we're in. And I would be very careful here in a lot of different ways. But I don't want to, I don't want to stress focus on this because I do think, and I don't look correct. So it makes it a little bit harder. But I would go out on the limb and think that we're making the highs of this move in here during the summer. And I do think that the second half is going to become a lot more challenging with a lot more problems. Listen, Trump yesterday, I laughed, okay, because I'm on vacation, but, obviously I have everything in front of me on my phone. And this headline came by: Trump was touting a deal with Indonesia. Okay, touting it that he has 19% tariffs. He's tariffing Indonesia less than he's tariffing Europe. Like, what is the point? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Nothing makes sense to me. Like, why are they touting an Indonesian trade deal? Tell me.
I don't know if they were particularly touting it, and I'm not sure whether the market
He was
actually
all over the.
reacted at all.
No, the market didn't care, but he was on the tape with it. They were on the tape with it. I'm just saying, like, how much trading do you think we're doing with Indonesia?
I think it was all over the tape because it came with a 50 Boeing airplane deal.
Oh boy. Wait, Boeing has deals. They're going to be making 10,000 planes. I mean, come on. They're going to make more planes than that are out there. They're throwing, dude, this doesn't remind you of the China deal when China said they were buying all these soybeans. They didn't buy one thing, zero. They didn't buy one thing. Okay. And they touted that deal. It's the same thing here. I know they're buying 10 Boeing planes. Oh boy, that's massive. I
50,
mean, come on.
50, 50.
It's it's
What is Indonesia going to do with 50 planes? Is it that big that they need 50 planes? But
no, I don't think so. You don't know the time frame. It doesn't take a week to build a plane. I would think that's
it
a
takes like
order.
10 years to one plane or something like
I
that. Five
understand,
years.
but I think that's an order over years, and it's irrelevant. That okay? So that well, Trump got a plane deal with the UK. I mean, come on, that's all he's getting is a plane deal. I mean, come on,
Like
it's
every country that makes a deal with Trump throws in some planes at the end as a
right,
sweetener.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like they know how to play. It's like a bad poker player. They know how to they know how to play this
Like if
guy.
the deal isn't going well, like somebody taps the guy on the shoulder and is like, throw in some planes.
No, say Trump is good looking. Hey, Donald, you look great today. Oh, okay. No tariffs today, young
No
man. You're
tariffs,
good.
5% off, 10% off.
Exactly. So
You throw in some planes, I'll give you another 5% off.
here, I want to get a little bit to the macro here. So let's start
Larry,
out.
there is no macro. Nothing is happening. You saw yesterday
Yeah, but
CPI.
I think stuff is happening a little bit under the hood.
Yeah,
If you
there's
look,
a recalibration, but it's not the type of recalibration that is going to crash the market. Like last year, before the Japanese carry trade broke, you saw a recalibration.
but we never
But
even went down. We never even went down. We barely went down. They went down like 40%, and we went down like three.
okay, this
It's
year, February highs this year, you saw before the highs, before the crash, we saw a recalibration. That was a bearish one. You had the safety trade, all those low vol stocks started to really outperform, right? And then the market crashed. Here, you're not seeing low volatility stocks outperforming. You don't see that. But what you are seeing is some rotation between value and growth, and you're seeing a lot of uh, taking profits on one end, but they're putting it into other bullish places. It's not like they're taking profit on risk assets and putting them into safe assets. They're just kind of putting them back into other risk assets.
yeah. I mean, there is no fear, but on the macro level, I look at bond yields being an issue. Today they're backed off. They backed off of the 350 level to 345. We keep having this trade back and forth and back and forth. And at one point, this trade is going to break. And I think that means higher yields, which is, it should have an impact on the market, but it really doesn't. Like, none of this, no one's talking, like, you don't find this market to be strange. Nobody's talking about anything external. They just want to buy Nvidia every day. They don't even care. And I think it's setting up as a good short trade. It can't be this good. The bottom line is, I mean, come on. People are putting 250 price target, 220, 190. They're so far, like 20 points on 100. Those are real moves. So this is um this is a very
Let me ask you a question. Since you bring up price targets, it's interesting you mentioned that. I actually wanted to ask you anyway, but you already mentioned price targets. What do you think over time, if you would backtest companies that exceed their price target, right? So like they're the highest price target on the street, the company rips through that price target. Over time, what do you think happens to price on average of companies that are trading above their most bullish Wall Street estimate?
they just up the estimates. That's what I'm seeing, and that's what's making me concerned in the market. I mean, usually the analysts will wait till the stock gets at least close to the price target, and they're not doing that. Merrill, I think, went from 180 to 220. I mean, that's 40 points on 180. I mean, that's a number. Okay,
I used
that
I used to think that like companies that would trade way above their price target, that was like a slam dunk short. I looked
why
over time.
it's never happened, dude. Every time that Nvidia will get close to a price target, they just raise it. They don't
Exactly.
let what
That's what
what
you see.
analysts.
That's
But
what
but
you
I'm
see.
saying, but what analysts let something go above the price target? There's no way they're gonna have to make a move right
They're
away.
gonna have to make a move, but for that short amount of time, you see like the median estimate of like 100, and the stock is like at 150. So in those scenarios, actually, that's actually bullish for the stock historically.
Oh, I don't know. Listen,
Yeah.
I've never actually seen it. I've never seen. Oh, maybe a fake company or something that's not
On
covered by.
average, you take all S&P 500 companies over like
There's no
20.
way they let them get 50 points above a price target. It's no pos. Look what they're doing in Nvidia. I mean, it's not even near the price, and they're just raising it, and they're making $180 stock be an internet company with 25 billion shares outstanding, 25 billion shares, and no one wants to sell a share. So, listen, it just seems very iffy to me, you know, right now, and markets again have an insatiable appetite this morning to buy. Um, must be that PPI number. Nothing else moved other than S&P. You know,
Actually, back to Nvidia, the 12-month price target on Nvidia is 180.
they're raising them every day now. There two companies raised the price target. One raised it to 190. One raised it to 220. You're going to see that
Yeah, they
every day.
all raised all of them over the last since July 14th.
I
That's just
understand the stock just went from 120 to 170, and now they love it. So whatever. I don't want to spend too much time on Nvidia. Keep an eye on bonds. They've caught a little bit of a bid, but now they're coming back off. Market's going to open significantly higher when it looked like it was going to open significantly lower. I guess that PPI changed everybody's thought process. So right now, market a little bit higher. I don't like this opening, although they're ripping teeth. They're ripping throats out today. So on a 20 handle up move. You remember 20 handles is massive. So we have a 20 handle up move today. We have a 50 handle up move from the low overnight, which is even more significant. And here we sit, with everything, looking up. And again, the macro thesis is kind of out the window. Gold, back and fill. It caught the 3 day bid. Then yesterday it sold off. It's been doing this trade for months and months and months. It's actually for what I do, which is a lot of mean reversion, counter trend trading. That's a very good vehicle to trade. It's stuck inside a range, keeps going to the low of the range, bouncing 75 points, going back to the low of the range. And you can keep playing these ranges until they kind of don't work. So, that
since the April highs, gold has just been flatlining up and down, but hasn't really gone anywhere. But hasn't given up any gains either. It's just
well,
this
it's up a lot for the year. It's consolidating. I mean, I think lower. I know you think higher. I think lower on the year.
move in gold. Like it's been consolidating for what, like 4 months now.
Since we made the blow off top that you won't admit was a blow off top,
That
where we
wasn't a
did
blow off. How could that be a blow off top when we
because we did
see
the most. It's a simple thing. It's actually textbook. That top was textbook. We had massive volume, record high volumes within 2 days. What else is telling you we made a blow off top? We had record high volumes over 2 days, and then basically the market came in and rejected that high in a big way and sold off. Basically 3-4% quickly. That's a blow. That's like if we saw that in S&P, it would be unbelievable, but you never see that. But that to me, listen, what's a blow off top? Record high volume, high prices, failing off the high. That to me is what, as a trader, that's what you're looking for to
yeah, but it
think,
only dipped like 3-4%. What doesn't a blow off top?
no, it's over 10% off the high right now. The high was almost 3,600, right? And now we're 3,300. So that's probably 8% off the high. So, and we've been sitting down in this consolidation. I'm not saying in a year or 6 months we won't take out that high, but that high has not been in jeopardy one day since we've had that volume. But, that's really my thesis on
Right.
gold right here. Um, I don't really see anything. I think it's good mean reversion, both up and down. Dollars picked up a bid. Actually, the euro, I know you're out of it. You said yesterday you were out of it before the big down move. Just want to go on record with that. And we came in
No,
about 100 handles.
third, I reduced my position, but I still have it.
Oh, I thought you said you were out. All right, we have to check. There are a lot of check the tape stuff, but
You got to fact check me.
dude, I think you got to show it, right? What is that? You got to show.
We don't ever have to fact check you because we always know that you're short. You're short the
I'm not
market.
always short. My positions are actually probably a little bit long coming in this morning. Not in individual names, but long, long in general through options. I sold a bunch of puts last night on the close, sold some calls, um, you know, sort of doing that straddle thing around the market. And you know, the dollar's been a decent trade. It's taken a long time. There's probably more dollar strength coming as tariffs, keep getting announced. I mean, I don't know. I mean, my question is August 1st seems very, very close. Am I wrong? How close August 1st is?
Yeah. No.
Doesn't seem like there are guys waiting outside the side of the White House to sign deals, does it to you?
Trump downplayed the possibility of further trade deals yesterday, so I don't think I
No,
don't
but
think
my
we'll
question
be.
is why? Why? Why would the EU not want? First of all, the EU is almost impossible to do a deal with because there's how many countries in the EU? 60 on one currency. Some countries are coming out saying there's no way. Other countries are saying we need a deal. So the EU is going to be very, very difficult. But my point to you is we're pretty much 2 weeks away from that date. So what? So I don't understand how they're going to negotiate full trade deals in the next week. It just doesn't seem possible. And then there's going to be retaliated tariffs. There's going to be very angry people. I know that they think Nvidia is selling into China and they're just going to open the door and all this other stuff and a great deal. And maybe there won't be. Maybe China will be like, listen, you don't want to deal with us. We're not going to let you sell into us. So I would think that's set up for more negative stuff
China
in
is always, as long as we have the tech that they want, they will always be willing to talk to us. Now, when they have their own tech and they feel like their tech is superior to ours and they don't need our chips and they don't need anything, then they'll stop. But as long as they need that tech, they just want to win the AI
But
war.
why
I
do
think
but why do they need the tech? You think they don't have their
they
own
want to
tech?
win the AI war. They want to they want to be number one
But
in
why do they
ranking.
need Nvidia to do that? They have their own companies. It's like if you go into Japan and you go into China, especially China, and I can't verify it because I wasn't there, but I was in Japan and there were other phones other than Apple. In China, Apple's not even relevant. So why do they have their own technology? They have Samsung and a number of other different phones. They also have that in cars. They don't need our cars. They have their own EV companies. They have their own car companies. So I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. But it's I think it's Trump, pumping this stuff, and we'll see. So we covered gold. We covered the dollar. Um, Oil seems still like a no trade below $70.
By the way, the dollar with the dollar, one thing that I've been noticing early in the year when tariffs were actually a thing for the market, U.S. rates would go up and the dollar would drop, which is almost unheard of, right? So that was very bearish. Everybody's like, okay, deglobalization, de-dollarization, the dollar's going to drop no matter what. Everybody's selling treasuries, no demand for the dollar. Now what you're seeing is rates going up, and finally, not just the dollar, but like gold, euro, a lot of stuff in macros just feels like it's back to that traditional relationship where rates up in the US, the dollar's going up with it, gold's kind of having a hard, like yesterday, the great short in currencies was probably gold rather than like the euro, right? So you're seeing
Yeah.
that with the in macro, it's getting back to like some that traditional relationship. I kind of take that as a bullish thing, that the dollar is going up here on rising rates. That means that the fear of de-dollarization is kind of subsiding.
Right. I mean, I don't think it's subsiding. I think that people are very unhappy. I mean, in the first half of this year, the dollar had its worst start in history. Okay. I know, in the market we live in, a 15 to 20% move isn't that much, but in the dollar, that's epic. So these have been epic moves. It's very disheartening to see the weakness in the dollar, although it's strengthening recently, and we're on that trade. We're dollar bulls right now, just for the record. It's been a hard trade for sure. But the markets are, yeah,
So you
markets
think the
are.
euro could go even lower?
Yeah, I think the euro can go to 114 potentially.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't
yeah.
know. It was there before all this stuff, but it just depends. I mean, I think the stock market itself is totally complacent to everything that's about to happen. You know, tariffs being implemented, retaliatory strikes from other countries. So the markets aren't seeing this really, really correctly in my mind. And I'm going to remain cautious into the end of the month. I know, he's going to do a trade deal with Sri Lanka. I mean, come on. I mean, how many countries are out there in the world? He's done two or three trade deals. There's hundreds of countries that got tariffed.
You
Like,
know what? The big one we haven't heard anything about is, you mentioned Sri Lanka, but India.
dude, I don't know. I just, listen, he needs tariffs. Even on the deal that he did with Indonesia is 19% tariffs,
He
lighter
needs.
than any, right. But he's tariffing Indonesia lighter than any other country in the world. How does that make it feel? It's ridiculous.
Throw in some
Absolutely.
planes, you get a discount.
I
That's
know.
what that means.
It's
They have
ridiculous. So,
19%, but they have to buy 50 planes.
So anyway, I want to kind of get to the wrap up here, get everyone ready for the trading day. So I don't know if you have any trade thoughts, any individual stocks you're looking at.
I'm trying to price in an iron condor, Larry, for today.
Ay, ay, ay.
Well, you said it's going to go up and down unchanged all day,
Oh,
right? So
listen. I am not
I'm
100%
listening.
sure.
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
I'm not 100% sure what is going to happen
None of us are.
today, but
None of us.
I do think we're range bound, but I just think the pricing, you you
Just
know what I've
terrible.
been doing a lot
Like
of?
I said, I try to price it. The pricing is terrible, dude.
Well, you
So
know what
bad.
I've been doing a lot of, and it's really worked very well, which it may not work now, is doing a 2 day, which is really a 1 day. So today selling a spread for tomorrow. You get a
I've been
little
doing
bit
the same
more.
thing to get more premium in.
Yeah, you get a little bit more premium. So anyway, so I guess you like that. I like that a little. The bank stocks. It's interesting. JP Morgan came out with really good numbers. Stock can't rally. It's funny. The only thing that can rally is Nvidia. It's like I feel like every single cab driver, every single person in the world is in Nvidia. Doesn't matter. But anyway, let's.
This earnings season is starting like every other earnings season over the last like 5 years.
Right.
It's
Well,
it kicks off with J.P. Morgan. Maybe there's a little bit of turbulence, but
right.
then the market kind of, and it's gonna continue like this. I think throughout until the big tech comes out, and even then, listen, it's earnings season is very tricky to trade. Would you agree with that?
Nah, I mean, I'm just surprised that banks have had big rallies but can't rally, and all these tech stocks don't even have like ASM. What is it, ASML or whatever?
When
Um,
you're yeah.
yeah, that thing blew up today. They said they have no visibility, whatever. Somehow, Nvidia doesn't even say anything. That's what's hilarious about this. He doesn't even come out and say anything. It's the market saying it for him. But I think there's a good trade set up there in Nvidia. I would do it through options. I like that. I may come with that today for my products. And overall, just, stay light, stay out of trouble. And again, better opening if we open down today, but we open up. So hopefully we don't fail too hard if we do, or rally too hard, because, I'm sure both sides. And that's it. I think we're pretty much covered. Remember, you can watch us live on YouTube with Trading with Larry. And we'll be back to everybody tomorrow. Enjoy the day. Peace.